What's going on, everyone? Juicebacks here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. Just a quick one today before I go enjoy my 4th of July festivities here in the US. And happy 4th of July to everyone out there that is enjoying it as well. Now today I wanted to talk about buffs and boosts and buffs on buffs and boosts on buffs and combinations thereof. Now this is just barely scratching the surface, and I by no means am going to cover every single buff and boost in the game. And by all means, play around with it and find out which combinations you like the best. Now first off, for comparison purposes, we're going to start off today using the Mighty Earth Shatter Tower. We see massive DPS here, 2.51 million damage per second in full Chaos 7 gear, of course, at Tier 1. Now, we all know that the Initiate's Talisman ability is going to buff defenses in her area. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the Talisman will do with this Earth Shatter Tower. Now, we remember it was 2.51 million DPS, that's through 799,000 attack damage, and it's all about the crit, we know that, so 5.71 million crit damage. Now, when I throw the Talisman in the mix, that's going to take it up to 4.16 million damage per second at Tier 1. Now, it's important to note, when you do throw down a Talisman and then do any hero swapping, the Talisman does go away, as it is attached to the hero, similar to like the Abyss Lord's Heal. So if we throw down a Talisman and then say switch to a Lavamancer, the Talisman is instantly gone. Now on that note, we also have the Lavamancer's Erupt ability, which we're back to the 2.51 million DPS for the Earth Shatter. We throw an Erupt, and that's going to take it to 2.97 million. Now, just to make this video easier to record, I'm not using the twice as bright shard for the eruption, and not making the eruption hit harder at a reduction of the amount of time it lasts, although that's obviously the way to do it. My timing's not perfect, so I'm not using that shard. So once again, 2.51 million, we erupt, and that takes it to 2.97 million. Now, we remember back with that Talisman was getting us up to 4.16 million. So now let's take a look at what kind of a combination we can get when we combine Erupt with the Talisman. So if we go ahead and Erupt and then switch heroes and drop the Talisman, you see now that's now getting us up to 5.23 million damage, and a little bit more substantial. Now that, of course, is coming from a Tier 1 tower at 2.51 million damage per second. Now let's take a moment and switch over and talk about boost auras and buff beams. Now, basically, to make a long story short, a boost aura can be buffed, but a buff beam cannot be boosted. So if I throw down a boost aura over here, we see its damage power bonus is 3917, and then I throw down a buff beam over here, its damage power bonus is 4153. Now let's throw another boost aura up here for reference. We see it's 3917, and then let's put a buff beam over the boost aura. Now you see the damage of the boost aura has increased to 4556. However, the buff beam is still at 4153, and that's the same as the one over here. So you can buff a boost aura, but you cannot boost a buff beam. Now when we go ahead and apply that to the defenses itself, I tell you what, let's go all kinds of overkill and even throw a little power pylon in the mix. Now power pylon is just going to make a small difference, but it will make a difference. So now our base damage, instead of being 2.51 million, we're going to get a little power pylon going on it. And as soon as that little purple glow comes, there we go, it jumps up to 2.67 million. So now we're looking at 2.67 million damage per second. Now if we throw that boost aura back into the mix, that is going to take it up to 3.02 million damage per second. So we're definitely making, or actually 3.15, there it goes, it finally kicked in. So we're making a little bit of progress here. Now let's take it one step further and let's buff the entire operation. So now our boost aura is getting buffed. Our Earth Shatter, of course, is getting buffed. And we're getting a double dip on the buff beam, because the buff beam is buffing the boost aura, which is in turn buffing the Earth Shatter. That's also getting a buff from the buff beam. And as you see, all combined together, this is going to take us up to 3.9 million damage per second. Now, of course, we're looking for big numbers here, so let's go ahead and take everything up to tier 5. You see we're 4.8 million just with the Earth Shatter. Let's go ahead and upgrade the boost aura as well. That gets us to 5.17 million. And then we will upgrade the buff beam as well. Now we're going to have to wait a second for that buff beam to kick in on the boost aura. And then that's going to take it up to 5.79 million damage per second. Now if we go ahead and switch back over to our Lavamancer, and we see our 5.79 million damage per second, and let's throw an eruption. That's now going to take it up to 6.87 million damage per second. Now on that same note, if we go ahead and throw down our Talisman from the Initiate, we're at 5.79 million damage per second. We throw down the Talisman, that's going to take it up to 9.58 million damage per second. Oh, actually up to 11.4. So now let's go ahead and take it one step further, and we see we're at our 5.79 million damage per second. Let's go ahead and throw an eruption and take that to 6.87 million damage per second. But let's go ahead and double dip, and we'll throw an eruption, plus we'll go ahead and throw down a Talisman from the Initiate. So we're going to pop the eruption off, then we're going to switch to the Initiate, drop a Talisman, and now we see the damage starting to increase. We're up to 15.4 million damage per second. Now, although that's only for a second, remember this is coming from one single defense. Now, like I mentioned, I wasn't using the eruption shard. If I was using the eruption shard, I'll go ahead and try it, even though my timing is absolute fail. As you see, I've got my set of Gunwitch goodies. Let's go ahead and throw twice as bright on there. Now, twice as bright is going to increase the defense power to 70%, but the duration is going to be reduced by 5 seconds. So let's see if I can get the timing down here on our eruption. I did put it in the right one. Yes, I did. All right, so now, instead of going to 5.79 million, just with the eruption, is taking us up to 8.39 million. However, if we can time it right, and we can get our eruption off, then switch to the Initiate, and now we see we're all the way up just for a second, but we hit that 25.2 million damage per second mark, once again coming from one single defense. Now, as I mentioned, this is by no means a complete guide to buffing and boosting, because I haven't discovered all the combinations myself, to be completely honest with you. However, it does give you a way to play around with buffs and boosts and have a little fun in the process. Of course, using up this much DU all to one defense seems kind of difficult to do on a map. However, it is a fun way to play around and look at some big numbers. So that will do it for now. Thank you for watching. Click that like button and please subscribe to the channel. And happy 4th of July once again. I'll see you guys next time.